There we go. Might help if I didn't have my stupid microphone muted. Ha ha ha. Joke's on me. Welcome everyone. Turn 7 of our Sport of Kings campaign. Do apologize for the delay. I had a lot of stuff going on in real life that's been keeping me distracted. Finally had all of that taken care of, and I am free and clear to run this turn and get it done. So that way we can see what else what's going to happen in our future. So reshift that. So, got a couple folks in the chat. Looks like I got a couple of players, England, France, and Prussia. Hello. I think Spain is also listening in, I've heard. Hello, Spain. And that leaves two other people that are in at least listening, if not actually watching. Hello, thank you for joining us. Uh, Again, this one was kind of like a last second pop up. Um, had the energy to do it, had the time to do it, so I said let's do it. So I do understand for some of you this might be not a normal viewing time, although for maybe for others it might be. Um, for the viewers out on the other side of the pond, it might be good for you all. The timing might be a little better for you. But anyways, so we're looking at the map, beginning of spring. I guess it would be 1742, although we're not really married to that exact year. Mid 1700s, the springtime of some nebulous year in the 18th century, we shall call it. So, quick recap. We've had France and Spain have been coordinating and working together to, let me shift here, to drive the English out of the colonies, both in North America and in the Indian subcontinent, and to the present, they've been relatively successful of getting their way. Although England is trying to do what England can do to stem the tide. If we return back to the main European map, France and Austria are dancing with Prussia and England, kind of in the German Low Country, doing that dance of time that is those countries are most famous for doing. We also have the Ottomans and the Russians sparring with one another along the Black Sea out in that area. But also last turn, Sweden decided to get into the game, even though they had kind of been um, already tacitly working uh, by doing some assistance with France against Prussia and England, but they got a lot more active in the winter by attacking northern Russia. And so they are now squarely, firmly in the game. So we shall see how all that's going to turn out. So, with that in mind, we've gotten our initial deployments, the random events, and the revenue collections. Our diplomacy, we do have a handful of special announcements, or public announcements, excuse me. I do believe these will be of interest to the folks in the chat and the YouTube universe watching. So we're going to start with Austria. Austria has made a public announcement. Austria and Prussia have agreed to a ceasefire. Well, that's certainly interesting. I don't know if that was necessarily expected. Well, I mean, I expected it. I knew what was going to happen, but you know what I'm saying. Anyways, long ago, the Tsar and the Empress of Austria entered into a defensive alliance. Austria was attacked, and Austria asked for aid. No aid was sent. The Empress did not forget. She demands retribution. That sounds interesting. It sounds like Austria has some beef with Russia there. We'll see how that plays out. England. Jolly Mary England also has given us a public announcement and thusly declares, England decries Sweden's villainy for its invasion of northern Russia. The King of England praises mass piracy against the Spanish ship La Amistad and the loss of all its crew. Portugal agreed to piracy aid and has agreed to harbor English pirates from Spanish forces. I believe that was a typo on the English king's part. I believe he meant to say privateer. It's officially sanctioned privateers. So, England continues. France does not have a public announcement, or if they did, it got cut off. So, France, I know you're in the chat. If you did have a public announcement, go ahead and throw it in there, but I don't think you do. Turkey does not have a public announcement. Prussia. Prussia has a public announcement. Let's see if Prussia... Prussia's response. Prussia apologizes for its transgressions against our southern neighbors in Austria. Oh, sounds like it's going good so far. But, there's always a but, Prussia needs to stay the course. Long live King Frederick of Prussia. Needless to say, that sounds a little defiant in light of the kindness, the olive branch that was extended to them. To the best of my knowledge, barring anything else, that is all. Oh, stand by. Grab too much paper. Nope. Yep, there we go. That was all of the public announcements. So everybody's emailed me their moves and builds. Got them in my hand. Naval movement. There's a little bit of naval movement. England. England has a heavy battle fleet and 3 light fleets. They're moving from the western Atlantic to the eastern Atlantic. Just like that. Interesting. That is it for England. France. France is in the North Sea, embarking 3 SP, onto the transport fleet. So let me 2, 3, 4. Stupid ships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's getting replaced. So 3 are moving on to the transport fleet, of which 1 ship will be replaced with a purple square. These will move to there. And then, from the North Sea, moving a transport fleet with a 3 SP, a medium battle fleet, and Marines into the Eastern Atlantic Ocean. Boom, 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 boom. Moving. Over here. The Marines. and medium. There we go. Sounds like a hefty fleet. In the Indian Ocean, one of the transports that the French captured from the English is being renamed and rechristened, and is now flying a French flag. And that transport fleet, along with 3 French SP, are moving into the Indian Ocean. Boom, 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 like that. Yep, I think you should be able to see that. All right. And then finally for France in the Eastern Atlantic, there's a transport fleet moving into the Mediterranean Sea. And for some reason, that transport fleet, scouts and spies, have seemed to see it go into port and then all of a sudden lost track of it. Has gone missing. So that's it for the French. Scouts seem to report and indicate that in the Mediterranean Sea, a transport fleet that was surprisingly very similar to the French transport fleet was lost, has been seen flying the Ottoman flag. And then I believe Spain. Oh, no, I forgot to put something out. I'll get it in a minute. In Scotland, the SP that's in Scotland is boarding the transport fleet. Two SP from Spain are also boarding transport fleet. The Spanish transport fleet in the Mediterranean seaport is exiting the seaport into the Mediterranean Sea Zone. And then the final British transport fleet that had been captured is renamed and rechristened and now flying a Spanish flag. To which it leaves port along with the regular SP in Bengal. Then one heavy battle fleet, one medium battle fleet, 4 light battle fleets, the transport fleet with the regular SP move into the southern Atlantic Ocean Sea Zone. Move around and put this up top. Just do it off camera. That is that. I think I got it all. And then for Sweden, one SP boards the transport fleet in the North Sea. that is that for naval movement. Hurricanes, none. Naval combat. Well, there is naval combat. Um, all sides are looking for battle, and there is battle in the Eastern Atlantic Sea Zone. Now, the difference in this case is because the English weren't there to they didn't start the turn in that sea zone. Uh, if there were a tie, the French and the Spanish would still be allowed to, move their ships into port and such like that, or unload their troops or whatever the case may be. The only way that the Spanish and the French are prevented from doing any of unloading or moving to port is if the English actually um, win the fight. So here's the thing, though. I do believe. Well, never actually done it before. We've never done a naval battle before. I have rules for naval battle. That is not my concern at the moment. Well, I should say, do they have orders? Well, you're automatically assumed if you don't give me orders, you're automatically assumed to be looking for battle if you're um, at war with somebody. So I do not have orders to say that you're not looking for battle. So therefore, all right. So the English have two separate battles to fight. They got a fight against the Spanish and then a fight against the French. I guess the only question is who would go first. Let's see. Well, I guess we'll do it by die roll. 1, 2, 3. The English fight the French first, or 4, 5, 6. The English fight the Spanish first. Who do they run into first? 1, 2, 3. They fight the French. So we've never done a battle before. So basically, just to do a quick run through, each token generates a die. Let's see if I can. It's a little glary. Anyways, that's a medium battle fleet. It gets a hit on a 5 plus. Or correction, that's a heavy battle fleet. It hits on a 5 plus. Mediums also get a hit on a 5 plus. The difference between a medium and a heavy is a heavy can take 2 hits before being destroyed. Um, so we have a die for each token. No, I'm going to declare they're not because the Atlantic Ocean is so vastly huge that it your fleets aren't actually sailing together per se, especially since one fleet moved from one side and another fleet moved from another side. So, nope. Do have to keep a little bit of interest and excitement in there. So no, they're not going to combine together. They're going to be separate battles because to me that makes for a more dramatic story. Can the plucky little English fleet survive? Uh, that's kind of a ruling on the fly. I did not have that written in the rules. That's what I was looking for. Alas, that's what we're going to go with. I'll willing to revisit it at a later time. Anyways, uh, so the English will be generating 3 light dice, which only hit on 6s, and then 1 heavy die, which hits on a 5+. And then the English or the French are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pluses, and then 2 lights. The blacks are the 5 pluses, and the whites are the 2 lights. And I've already gone through my dice. I don't have any janky dice anymore. So, in this case, the British lights are green, and the British heavy is red, which the greens need a natural 6, and the red needs a 5+. And then the French heavy and mediums are on the blacks on a 5+, and then the 2 whites are on a natural 6. All right. Hmm. So it looks like, looking at all of that, the greens were natural 6s, so those are done. The red was a 3, so that's done. The blacks were 5s and 6s. The whites were 6s. Those are done, so those are done. So the British uh, gain 1 hit on the French, and then the French get 2 hits on the British. So the British lose the fight. So now how hits are distributed is if there's more than 1 class of ship available, if there's multiple hits, you basically, like in this case, there's a heavy and lights, so the British take a hit on each class. So the heavy goes down to a damaged, and then the 1 light gets destroyed. The French, on the other hand, because they only take 1 hit, I need to roll a die to determine which class the hit goes on, if I recall correctly. And casualties are split evenly amongst the types of battle fleets involved. The owning player may choose to assign casualties for heavy fleets to a full fleet or a damaged fleet as desired. Any remaining casualties are assigned by die roll. So basically, a 1 or 2 is to a light, 3 or 4 is to a medium, and a 5 6 is to a heavy, which those are all the types that are here. So we'll see what we get. A 4, so the 4 goes to a medium. So 1 medium, a French medium ship is sunk. Blug blug. There we go. Exciting, our first naval combat. Now, there was a chance for there to be a tie. If there was a tie, England wouldn't have to flee, but since France actually won, England has to flee. England, you're in the chat. Do you want to flee to the Western Atlantic, or do you want to? Your port is not blockaded, so you could escape anywhere. You could escape into the Mediterranean Sea. You can escape into the North Sea. You can escape into your port. Um, you've got options. So England, why don't you, since you're still here, if you're still here, give me a shout which sea zone you want to retreat into, or if you want to retreat into your port, your choice. But regardless, retreat fleet to the West Atlantic. Roger, Roger. Boop, 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 boop. The French drive the English off. That was exciting. All right. Thus endeth our naval combat. So now we're going to land moves. Okay, you say English port instead. All right. So you are in the English port attached to the Eastern Atlantic Ocean. All right, land moves. Start with Austria, because Austria is now friends with Prussia and angry with Russia. Let's see how they want to go about their business. So to start off with, Austria is moving 5 SP. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's actually all of them. 5, so I need to remove and give back a chip. They're moving 5 SP into Venetia. Saxony, they are moving 5, 6, 7 SP into Silesia because, Austria and Prussia are friends, right? So, um, no, Mr. Cyrus, they are not blockaded. Oh, shit, you're right, because you did start in the first port. No, you can't move to the English port, England. You have to move to the Western Atlantic. Or you can go to a different port or a different sea zone than the Western Atlantic. But, yep, they are blockaded. You're right. I was thinking the other way around. All right, anyways. Saxony moves 7 SP into Silesia because Prussia and Austria are friends now. And then from Hesse into Saxony, Austria is moving 4 SP, 2, 3, 4. From Podalia into northern Ukraine, they're moving 2 SP. So I need to replace a chip 5, 2, 4, and a yellow. Get rid of the red chip. And they're moving 2 into northern Ukraine. There's that. Very good. Podalia into Kiev. They're moving 4, so that will be the rest of them. 2, 3, 4. Yep. And from Poland into Kiev, they are moving 4 as well. So let me change this red chip into 2, 3, 4. And a red, I think it's 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, because I changed out. Oh yeah, because I'm kind of out of Poland. Sorry, I lost track of where I was at. 2, 3. Actually, I need to go 4, so actually I do need that red chip again. So there was 5, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Austria is making a nice little push against Russia here. And then from Tyrol into Venetia, moving 1. Then from Savoy into Milan, moving 1. There we go. That's it for Austrian movement. England is moving 8 SP from England into Scotland. Should be everything. Which reminds me, I need to put in the Scottish troops. I forgot to place those out. So they got 3 SP. There we go. Apologize for that. Okay. All right, that's it for the English movement. France, from the Eastern Atlantic to Ireland, they are landing their 3 SP and their Marines into Ireland. And then in the Indian Ocean, down here, they're going to move to the Southern Carnatic. I'm not going to move the camera because it's a quick move. So they're moving these 3 SP into the Southern Carnatic. All right, and then while we're up here, from the Mid-Atlantic colonies to the Southern colonies, moving 1 colonial SP. And Westphalia into Hesse, or Hessia. They are moving 8 SP. I believe that might be all this stack. 5, 6, 7, 8. It is. So I'm going to remove this purple. Place it with a chip. Actually get another chip because Berg is also moving that 1 SP into Hessia. Chip. France already has 4 there. So that gives France Is that better? Hey, I think I can talk. Yep. Sorry about that. Hold on. I think my cord's getting wind up. Hold on. I'm going to unplug and unwind. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, sorry about that. As I walk around to do all my moving, I keep spinning around, and so it knots up my cords. So I think what happened is it knotted up and it kind of pulled out the junction a little bit. So, all right. So we just finished up with Turkey. I don't think I need to repeat what I actually said, but um, I think at least for me pointing, you guys are able to see what was going on. For the most part, I don't know what you guys didn't hear, but just a quick recap. Uh, Turkey is consolidating troops in Georgia and then also joining the Austrian push into northern Ukraine, as well as also sending troops into central Russia. So that's a quick recap that should cover it. Thank you for the notification that my audio was out. I appreciate it. Prussia, 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 Prussia. From Hanover into Prussia for SP. Hold on a second. I need to. I'm gonna take a moment, do some chipping math to make sure everything is square. 15, there's 19. You're moving 4 out. So a block gets replaced with a chip because there's a chip already there. And then I got a stack of 15 chips, so I need to replace a red chip with a green, 2 gray, and a black. There we go. All right, we're square. Then from Hanover into Hessia, removing all those 15. Move the British marker. And then from Prussia into Silesia, 2 are moving over into Silesia. So Prussia, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, if I'm doing my math right. Yep, 12. Austria moved in with 7. That's it for Prussia. Russia. Back over here to Russia, this side of the map. From Don, moving to southern Russia, moving 15, which is everything but the block, which makes it easy. And from Kiev to north central Russia, moving 4. 2, 3, 4, which is everything but the block. Makes that easy. I'll just switch the 2 around like that. And that is it for Russia. Spain. From the mid-Atlantic to the southern colonies, they're moving 1 colonial SP, which means that Spain is ceding the Middle Atlantic colonies to France. So France goes up 2, Spain goes down 2. In the Eastern Atlantic, 3 regular SPs are invading Ireland. And so are the Marines. And from the Papal States to Tuscany, 8 are moving. There's 5, 6, 7. That's actually everybody. So I owe a chip and a block. 6, 7. Wait, that's not right. Nope, that was right. Stand by. I screwed that one up. 5, 6, 7. I think I wrote something down wrong. This doesn't sound right. Should be 8. That was all that was there. Oh, yeah, disregard. Nope, I got it right. I just confused myself. All right, that's it for Spain. Sweden. Sweden from the North Sea unloads their 1 SP into Scotland to assist. From northern Russia to north central Russia, they move 3 SP, which I owe Sweden a blue coin. And then from Pomerania to Mecklenburg, they move 4. Pomerania to Mecklenburg, 2, 3. That's everybody but 1. All right, there we go. That's all of the movement. Now we will build. In Venetia, Austria is building 4. I don't think I have any green ships left. 2. Apparently I need to invest in more. 4. And Podalia, building 1. In Tyrol, building 1. And in Austria, building 6. England. England building 1. Hanover building 6. And that is that. France. Westphalia, you're building 4. 1, 2, 3 chips. And I owe you a block. Hessia, we're building 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry. Nope. Wrong one. I put that in the wrong one. Goes into Hessia, not Berg. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Berg, we're building 2, so you get chip, and I owe you a block. In southern France, and I know I wrote this down because I asked earlier, and I have forgot to write it down in my notes. I believe it's the Eastern Atlantic. That was weird. Eastern Atlantic. Yep, that's what I thought. Eastern Atlantic, we're building a medium fleet. And in the Netherlands, we're building 2, so you got 2 chips in the Netherlands. Yo, Mr. Stensland. Yo, yo, yo. All right, Turkey. Building 1 in Turkey. Building 2 in southern Ukraine, so I give you 2 chips. Moldavia is getting 1. Bukovina is getting 1. And Crimea is getting 1. Prussia. In Silesia, Prussia is getting 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Livonia is also getting 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Duchy of Warsaw is getting 3. That's it for Prussia. All right, Russia is building 7 in north central Russia. That's it for Russia. Spain. Papal States gets 1. New Spain gets 1. Panama gets 1. Santo Domingo gets 1. New Granada gets 1. Spain gets 6. And then finally, for Sweden, Sweden's building 4 in northern Russia. All right. Combat stuff. Retreats before combat. I know I saw England say they're pulling out of um, Ireland, which is fine, and they'll actually be able to make it because the French and Spanish aren't landing with any um, horses, so there's no retreat fire. So England and or France and England goes down 1, but France and Spain need to figure out who Ireland is going to. Um, were there any other fights? So northern Russia. I don't think Sweden's in the chat, but I'm going to presume. I think it's a pretty safe bet that with Russia's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 SP, and then there are 4 militia. That Sweden is going to attempt to retreat back to northern Russia. That is the prudent thing to do. So I am, okay, Spain, Ireland goes to Spain, roger that. So Spain goes up 1. Should probably write that down. Where'd my notebook go? There it is. Okay. Okay, so Ireland. Then after the landings in Spain or in Ireland, the Marines would return back to their fleets. All right. So we did Ireland. I am working on North Central Russia, which I apparently did not write down. All right. Sweden is Group E. Now they get 1 die at least. Russia, I need to actually count how much they have. 6, 7, 8, yep, 12. As well, 12, 3. So Russia gets 2 retreat dice. I'll roll these green dice here. Natural 6s cause casualties. Nope, no hits, so Sweden retreats back to northern Russia. All right, so we got that done. Ireland's done. Let's see, we will do Central Russia real quick. It's an NPC fight. There's 6 Ottomans to the value of 2. So it's a 3-to-1. So Ottomans gets a +2 to the die roll. They rolled a 1. +2 brings it up to a 3. Attacker wins -2 SP. SP. So Ottomans go up 2. I need to mark that on the track. 1, 2. All right. Next will be Scotland. We'll do Scotland out of the way. That's kind of an NPC battle as well. England has their king there in the fight. And the Scottish have uh, theirs as well. They've got 3 SP, Scotland, plus a subgeneral and a king, and then also a Swedish die. So Scotland gets 3 dice. First 4 is a hit, the remaining hit on 6. And then Sweden has their normal SP die. And then England gets 4. So England will be black, hitting on 5s or 6s. Sweden's is on a 5 or 6. And then the Jacobites, first 4, remaining 6s. Well, all right. So, um, yeah, so Sweden's going to get a hit. And then the Scots, they've got a 4. Even if they use a general, the other 2 are a 2 and a 3. Um, that's not going to work. So the Scots get hit. So we're at a 2 and a 2. But the thing is I did forget the Scots do have they would get breastworks. Bam shakalaka. So this certainly makes things interesting. So right now the Jacobites are sitting at 2 hits. The English are also at 2 hits. Those Jacobites will roll their breastworks down to a 4, which knocks it down to a 1 hit. But then the British king, being there, can roll it back up to a 5. Or they have a 3 that can be rolled up to a 5. But there's less chance of a king casualty if they roll the 4 to a 5 instead. So there's 2 hits. And so England takes 2 hits, and the alliance takes 2 hits. And because there's 2 different countries, the hits are split evenly. And so the Swedes will take their 1 hit, and the Jacobites will also take a hit. Oops. Jacobites take a hit. And then the English take 2 hits. So then we recalculate the fight. So now all we have are 2 Scottish dice and 3 English dice. Going for round 2. Same differences. Ooh, yeah, all right. So Scots are going to make them pay, though. So, oh man, this is oh, poor England. So the Jacobites get um, Sorry about it. I'm reading something real quick. Well, it's gonna be the fight's gonna result in a tie. Oh, we got to roll for the casualty on the king real quick. Hold on. I forgot for the last turn around of battle. I forgot to roll the casualty on the king. So he only rolled a one, or he only did one ability. So I think it's just an 8 or better. Oh no, I'm sorry, a 10 or better because he only used one of them. So I'm gonna roll the red and white die. If it's a 10 or more, then the king becomes a casualty. It is not, so he's good to be in the second round. Okay. Fortunately, the king doesn't need to be used in the second round to fight. Well, actually, yeah. So what he'll do is the Scots are going to use their defensive works to roll the because the English rolled a 6 and 2 5s. Scots will use their defensive works to roll 1 5 to a 4. Scots are only getting um, a 3 and a 4. That normally would not work, but they have a king and a subgeneral. So the king is going to roll their 4 to a 6, and then their subgeneral is going to roll their 3 to a 4. So that means they get 2 hits. So it's 2 to 2 hits right now. But the English king will then go in and roll their 4 to a 5. So it's 3 hits against the Jacobites, 2 hits against the Scots, which does wipe them out. The English will win the battle regardless. Whether the Scots were completely wiped out or not, the English would win the battle and take over Scotland. So to see if the king is a casualty. Oh, the king rolled a 10, so the king becomes a casualty. What's going to happen to the king? Does the king go down valiantly, attempting to unify his throne? Um, 6. All right. So, in the last valiant charge against the Jacobites, as the king was rallying his troops to drive over the defensive works, the Jacobites' defensive works, the king takes a shot through his chest, dropping him from the saddle and killing him instantly. But his heroic and valiant rallying of the troops caused his troops to drive over the defensive works and wash and wipe the Jacobites away, thus crushing the Jacobite rebellion. Sadly, uh, let's see if the Jacobite. Let's see. This is turning into a tale. Let's see if the Jacobite. What happened to the Jacobites? The subgeneral and the. Oh, hello, Mr. Burns. Nice to see you. I don't think I've seen any of these chats before. So the subgeneral. What happens to the subgeneral? The subgeneral becomes a potential casualty, and the king also becomes a potential casualty. So the subgeneral he becomes wounded, so he's able to abscond off into the Highlands, never to be seen again. The king, on the other hand, the king is captured. The king is captured during the valiant charge. Oh wait, yeah, the king is the Jacob. Bonnie Prince Charlie has been captured by the English, uh, but their king died. Wah, wah. And the church bells in Westminster Abbey ring, ring, ring. So the English take another 2 casualties. All right. Well, that was fun. But the English recapture Scotland. Boop boop. I would probably suppose that the retribution against the Scots would be harsher than they were historically, especially considering the English king died. So sorry, Scotland. Anyways, continuing on. Let me write these notes down. SCO England -4 SP. So it was a king die. King dies. SCO king captured. Well, I don't know. That's a great question, Alex. I mean, the Scots have been crushed, so the rebellions have been crushed. So I mean, as far as the game goes, really nothing other than role playing. So we can role play it up however we want. Because yeah, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the rest of the campaign, but that was the Jacobites' second loss, and so after their second loss, they're done anyways. Um, so I guess I don't know, lock him up in the Tower of London or whatever, and I don't know, put a mask on his head or something. Maybe the Man in the Iron Mask gets rewritten and it's a story in England instead of France. Well, I guess that story had already happened. I don't know by this point. Whatever. Anyways, you guys know what I'm saying. Regardless. Okay. So Scotland's done. Oh, and we lost -1 Swedish SP as well. Austria, Kiev. Russia's going to attempt to retreat out of Kiev. They get no dice. Austria, I think, moved in with a lot. I think they've got 8. So they get 3 dice to Russia's 0. Oh, almost, but not quite. Russia is able to successfully retreat, and he will retreat to north central Russia. So they can't trade them for victory points. I hadn't thought of that. It seems like a reasonable thing to do. So that'll be tabled. That'll be tabled for further discussion. It's worth discussing. All right, who's next? Southern Carnatic. England, you're being invaded in Southern Carnatic by the French. Down here, they're 3 versus your 1. 2 dice to your 1 dice. I guess you're here. Do you want to retreat out of that? I know you've been kind of standing for everything else, giving you that option. You have your retreat to Northern Carnatic, and you'll be able to retreat for free because he's doing a naval invasion. He has no cavalry. I'll give you a second to think about that while I look at fight. All right, here we go. What's the point of playing the game if you're not going to roll the dice, right? Okay, so England or France gets 2 white dice. England will get one red dice. England hits, England will hit on a 5 or 6, and then France will hit on a 6 or the first 5. If they get 2 5s, only 1 hits. So here we go. France gets 1 hit, a 6. That kills the English. France wins. No hits back the other way. Although I can't remember if there was a subgeneral there or not. I don't think it would have mattered. Yeah, you rolled a 1, it wouldn't have mattered. So England goes down 1, France goes up 1. Okay. Do northern Ukraine. It's going to be 1 Austrian die, 1 Ottoman die versus 2 Russian die. Because they're each moving in with 2, and Russia has 3 there. So 5s or 6s? Ooh, my. Russia wins. 2 hits against the alliance, 1 hit against the Russians. So now we just need to roll to see who's going to take the hit. Odds, it goes against Austria. Evens, the hit goes against the Ottomans. Odds goes against Austria. So you have to retreat towards your so the Ottomans will retreat into southern Ukraine. Austria will retreat into Podolia. All right, northern Ukraine. Wins -1 SP. AU -1 SP. Retreat to southern Ukraine. All right. Silesia. That's Prussian 8 dice to Austrian 4 dice. I think, in light of Prussian treachery, that's what Austria would say if Austria's here. Austria would say, Prussian treachery. Austria would do a retreat before combat on that. So so Prussia gets 16. Group B 16. You got 6 retreat dice. Austria has 7. Group C 2 retreat dice. So Prussia gets 4 retreat dice against the Austrians. Trying to get natural 6s. Ooh, they get 1. Austria will retreat to probably in this they would retreat to Austria. Okay. Our last fight to discuss is Hessia. All right, so we need to have a little discussion about some stuff right now because Prussia, even though you said it in the chat, Prussia, I know you are not going to retreat from Hesse. You are going to fight in Hesse. The reason why you're going to fight in Hesse is because dun, 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 dun. You're going to fight or I'm going to fight it in miniature battle. So here's the French troops. These are the Prussian troops. Um, Part of the thing is what we're going to do is this is going to be kind of like a last hurrah for right now. The campaign's going to go on a pause. I don't know if we want to go into I don't know if we just necessarily want to end it or if we want to go into a hiatus. I'm taking a new job. I started a new job March 2nd. I have to go to training. I'll be in training for that for 2 months. I'll be 2 months training. And then I'm going to be stationed elsewhere away from home for a little while. So I don't know when I'll exactly be able to get back to the campaign. Maybe it's going to be at least a 2 month break for absolute sure, maybe longer. Once I get established in the new job, I'm just going to have to see how things are working out to see if I can actually make it back home to be able to run the campaign portion of the game or not. So that being said, especially in light of the version 3 of the Wage of Reason rules, where Prussia gets their firing bonuses and all that stuff. This I think is going to be a good battle to fight it out on the tabletop. Prussia has 15 SP, France has 18 SP with 2 guard units. And so I think with the Prussian firing bonuses, my theory is that Prussia, it's going to be a pretty even fight. So I want to see if that actually plays out. And I've got the actual miniatures to be able to do this fight. So I'm going to do the fight. So that's why Prussia, sorry, no, you're not retreating. So my plan is my buddy Sean, who is the Ottoman player, he lives in town with me. He is going to be coming over tomorrow, and we're going to fight the battle on tabletop. And my idea is I'm going to try to live stream it, but I don't know if live streaming it never necessarily works very well. So I'm going to try to see if I can get a live stream thing going. Otherwise, I'm definitely going to videotape it and do a battle report on it. So we will see the results of the miniature battle and see what happens. So yeah, kind of a surprise. I realized for you guys, kind of sprung it on you last second. I do apologize for that, but I think in light of my schedule and what's going on, I think it's the perfect place to do kind of like a last hurrah type of thing. So hopefully you'll excuse me for that. I do think, even though Prussia is outnumbered, I do think uh, I have a hunch that um, the tabletop battle is going to, um, yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I think the tabletop battle will be different. We'll see, and we can kind of do a little experiment too. I can roll the dice real quick just to see what the dice do. And then we can take that into consideration and compare it to what the actual miniature tabletop battle is. It'll also be a good gauge to see if my little battle system even works in the miniature game. But anyways, okay, so what I'm going to do, Prussia and France, since you guys are both here, I've got the order of battle already set out, and again, I'm sorry, the order of battle's fixed. That's because it's based on the miniatures that I have. I do have enough miniatures to set um, set the order of battle, so it's based on my miniatures. But I'll get you guys the map that I set up, so that way you guys can kind of set up. France will be defending. France will get to choose the side, and then you guys can set up how you want your troops oriented, and then um, we'll take it from there and play a miniature battle. So um, that's the way it's gonna be. I guess, and I need an excuse. Like I said, I'm leaving for 2 months, so I need an excuse to play miniature battle. So I'm using this as an excuse to play miniature battle. So that being said, I'll be in touch with France and Prussia here shortly. I'll get you all the information you guys need. Um, I guess we can have a discussion on Discord whether or not we want to just call this the end of the campaign, or if you guys are okay with just going on a hold. I think um, I don't think Prussia and England are out of the game by any means, or even Russia for that matter. So I do think there is a lot of campaign. I think it's worth, if we want to be patient and wait for my schedule to cooperate, um, you know, um, I think it's worth seeing how this plays out until we actually get to an actual honest end of the campaign by die roll. So that being said, I know it's a bit of a shocker. Here, I'll show you again because it's always cool to see miniatures. Here's the miniatures. In fact, there's even more miniatures tucked up underneath. So miniatures are cool. So you got miniatures there, and then miniatures there. So I think it's going to be a pretty even fight. Like I said, I think with I've done some test fights between like France and England, and in almost every, what am I getting caught on here? In almost every case, England destroys France because they get that extra firing bonus. So I think with the Prussian army, with pretty much their all of their infantry comprised of that extra fire bonus, I think even though Prussia's outnumbered, I think that's kind of the impetus actually. It gives Prussia a lot more maneuverability because they can go into fights being outnumbered and still be confident that they've got a fair shot of winning. So that being said, I am curious to know. We'll roll the dice and then we'll write the numbers down. So Prussia has 15 SP, so that comes out to 8 dice. France has 18, so that would be 9 dice. And I found another one. I think my kids thought it would be cute. That is not a 5, that's a 4 with a black permanent marker spot. That's not a 2, that's a 3 with a black permanent marker spot. So I think my kids thought it would be cute to mess around with a black permanent marker. Anyways, 2. Of course, I just threw it, and I don't know where it's at. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 2 reds. So France gets 9 white, 2 reds for the guards. They also have their king present and a subgeneral. The Prussians have a subgeneral, and the French get 2 breastworks. Now, I think in the actual miniature game, um, the leaders, they might be used here or there, but I don't know if it will necessarily, be as active as they are. That one fell out in my hand. That's not a fair roll. I rolled a 1 anyways. All right, so the Prussians get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits because they hit on the first one. Both guards hit. 1, 2. So, let's see. If the French get their king involved, they can roll this 3 to a 5. Well, here, let's do this. So the French will, they got 2 hits, so they'll roll a 5 to a 4, and then a 5 to a 4. Okay, so then the French king can get involved and roll. Oh, the subgeneral can get involved too. They can roll this 4 to a 5 and this 3 to a 5. And then the subgeneral can, the Prussian subgeneral gets involved and rolls the 4 to a 5. So basically, according to the dice, the French will win because they got 6 hits to the Prussian 4. But do their guards become casualties? Not according to the dice. They don't become casualties. But I suspect if the guards get involved in combat, because in the miniature game, if they lose, Bert C has 2 subgenerals? I thought he only had 1. I'll double check your notes. But if you do, then that would roll a 4 to a 5. So that would be 5 to 6 hits. Right now, according to the board game, the Prussians would still lose by 1. The French would get they get 6 hits to the Prussians 5, but the 2 of the hits from the French are caused by their guard units. I suspect that if the guard units get involved in the fight, that they will end up losing the guard units because you only need to lose. I have to look at it. Yet if you lose more than 25, I can't remember if it is 25% or more than 25. If you lose at least 4, take 4 hits on a guard unit, they're gone, and the infantry unit is going to get chewed up like that pretty quick, pretty easy. The cav unit, it might be easier for them to get out of a battle unscathed, but I suspect that that might be a pretty realistic outcome for a miniature battle. But I would strongly suspect that if the guard units get involved in the fight, that they'll become casualties too. So I'm gonna write that down. So it'd be interesting to compare. And I guess push comes to shove. Um, yeah, I think that's a fairly reasonable fight to fight. So yeah, sorry, Pressure. I was thinking for whatever reason when of course, I was kind of building it off of memory. I didn't actually have the notes specifically in front of me, so I probably missed that, or I missed it in your orders. It's very possible I missed it in your orders too. You do, and so I missed it completely on my side. So I'm gonna have to adjust that order of battle. All right, so again, yeah, sorry for springing on today. I did kind of want it to be a surprise, especially I wanted the end of this hiatus of the campaign, whether it being the end of the campaign or just a pause of the campaign. I wanted that to definitely be a surprise because I didn't want the knowledge that a campaign was ending, could be ending, to influence your decisions to make rolls and stuff. And then as far as the miniature battle, I can understand if you're frustrated. I do apologize for you being frustrated, but I do hope you understand my point of view. Um, and I hope you agree that I think it is on the tabletop definitely worth fighting out on the tabletop to see what the results are, because I think the results um, would be worth it. So that all that being said, I think we'll end today's campaign turn here. I do appreciate everybody for joining in. I know it was kind of an odd time for everyone, middle of the week. It's middle of the workday for us over here. Although for those of you on the other side of the world, it's in your evening time. So I imagine that probably works out okay, just fine. So. Thank you everybody for joining in. Sounds like I think I saw at some point we had 10 or 11 people in the stream, which is I think pretty amazing. Just the fact that we normally get 7, 8, or 9 people on average, anyways, is I think pretty amazing too. So thank you everybody for your support. Again, France, Prussia. I'll be in touch with you on Discord. Gonna come up with a map. I'm gonna probably roll in the Age of Reason book, but um, I probably won't go strictly with what's in the book. I'll probably make it so that way it's a nice battlefield to fight over. Some of those random battlefields that you can get are kind of wonky and not really conducive to a clean fight. So I want something more importantly. I want to have a clean miniature battle rather than having to fiddle and canoodle with you know crossing 3 rivers and 4 bridges and 6 towns or whatever the case may be. So I will probably roll a die or roll it a couple times to get some inspiration to figure out a battlefield, and then I'll drop a battlefield and send it your guys' way. So that way, you guys can give me initial deployments, and then from there, uh, the battle is out of your hands. The battle is in my hands. Again, thank you everybody. Appreciate you all for hanging on and playing with me in this campaign. And I'll be in touch with everybody on Discord. And I'll talk to you all the next time.